Hello there, and you're very welcome to another episode of the Arkham Avengers FFPL podcast. You join me, the host, along with Eamon, Hector, and Captain Fantastical Mick, where we take a look to see how the managers in this league are getting on for the season. However, we'll also be talking about much more. So kick back, stay tuned, and enjoy. Welcome again, folks, to another episode with me, the host, and of course, Eamon is here with me. We have no Hector joining us today, but don't worry, Eamon and I will keep the show on the road, as they say. Now, we're going to be taking a look at our managers here, see who is getting closer to winning that trophy for the 2022-23 season here. Eamon, how are you?
Well, I'm doing good, thank you. I'm tip-top. It's been a good few days. Everything is fine. No complaints with me anyhow.
It's good to hear that, yeah. I find you in good form these days.
Well, I think like when there's just yourself and I here in the studio, I don't have to listen to the ramblings of Hector or the unwise words of Captain Fantastical Mick. Yeah, it's good. I'm in good mood. I'm buoyed by the fact that I don't have to listen to either of them there.
Okay, very good. Now, folks, just to let you know, we had an interview with the regular road manager and it was due to be published this week, but unfortunately there has been a bereavement, and as a mark of respect, we've decided to postpone the interview episode just for now. We will, of course, be releasing it at a later date, probably in the next few weeks. We just want to, be respectful at this time here, and we also would like to pay our sympathies to everybody. Okay, Eamon, I think we'll have a look and see what was going on in Gameweek 23. Now, the highest points were 114 and the average points were 44. There is no change in first place. Kane's the keeper, 87 points, Eamon.
They had 3 transfers and they also played a triple captain, I have to say. And they lost 4 points with their transfers. Nekatea came in for 6 points. Ferguson went out for 1 point. Bailey came in for 1 point. Martinelli went out for 2 points. They brought De Bruyne in for 15 points and Fernandes went out for 3 points. Their goalkeeper was Arrizabalaga, 2 points. Gabriel got 3 points. Trippier had the 2 points then. Botman came in with 1 point. Odegaard had 4 points. De Bruyne had 15. Rashford had 8 points. Mahrez had 14 points. Kane had 2 points. As we said, Nekatea had 6 points. And they decided to triple captain Haaland. They got 30 points for that there. I don't think the triple captain with Haaland worked out as well as if you had triple captain Rashford. I think you got better value out of Rashford. The Bailey coming in, I don't think that really was a good transfer. It didn't seem to work out in my view there. Possibly maybe trying to get a little bit of money that they could afford to, get the Nekatea and the De Bruyne in there. But it didn't really do much there. Now, they are holding first place and they are managing to get points, which is helping them keep them there. But they had Shaw on the bench. There's 12 points there for the taking. And the manager is going to have to take that as a sucker punch. As I said, they're doing the business. They're holding first. It's up to the rest of the guys to catch them. So far, so good.
And speaking of the rest of the managers, up to second from last week's third, the good, the bad, and the goalie, 85 points, Eamon. Sure, I'll talk through this here now because we've got nobody else.
I could talk if you want, but go ahead.
They had 1 transfer. De Bruyne came in for 15 points and Fernandes went out for 3 points. The team lineup was goalkeeper Edison, 3 points. Trippier, 2 points. Shaw, 12 points. White, 3 points. De Bruyne, 15 points. Rashford, 8 points. Odegaard, 4 points. Almiron, 10 points. Kane, 2 points. Nekatea, 6 points. And their captain was Haaland, 20 points. Eamon, any thoughts on this now?
It was a good transfer, bringing in De Bruyne. They had Shaw on the pitch, better than Kane's keeper. And, I think considering that Kane's keeper played a triple captain, I think 85 points for the good, the bad, and the goal is a good result. They didn't play any, fancy stuff. They just put the team together. Transfer in, it's good. They're keeping the pressure there. They're taking second place there now. So they're putting out a marker to the rest of the guys saying, "Down a second, I'm not just going to fade away here." And this is what we want to see.
Down to third then from last week's second place is Taiga, 76 points, Eamon.
They had 2 transfers. Odegaard came in for 4 points and they put Almiron out, who had 10 points. Nekatea came in for 6 points and the Tony went out for 9 points. In goals, they had the Arrizabalaga for 2 points. Trippier was in there with 2 points. White, 3 points. Shaw picked up 12 points. Cucurella had the 2 points. Odegaard had 4 points. Rashford had 8 points. De Bruyne had 15. Nekatea had 6 points. Kane, 2 points. And they also had Captain Haaland there for 20 points. The transfers didn't work out. Like, they lost points. Kicking Almiron out and Tony. Bad call. Bad call there. I have to say, they'll be disappointed. They were closing the gap last week on first place. They're now drifting. They need to remain steadfast here, and they need to be clear-headed and level-headed where they're going here. Now, no change in fourth. It's Arkham Avengers, 74 points. They had one transfer. Nekatea came in for 6 points, and they put out a Ganato for 2 points. The team lineup was goalkeeper De Gea, 10 points. Me, 2 points. Trippier, 2 points. White, 3 points. Rashford, 8 points. Odegaard, 4 points. Fernandes, 3 points. Mahrez, 14 points. Nekatea, 6 points. Kane, 2 points. And Haaland was the captain, 20 points. Eamon. The transfer was it was a good, wise move. Yeah, getting Nekatea and get out the Ganato there. The defence look weak, I have to say. They won't be pleased with that. There's a couple of lads here on this team. They're not pulling their weight, but the Spoofer isn't slipping up. He's keeping pace with the 3 guys ahead, which is surprising here. I didn't expect this from the Spoofer. We normally see the Spoofer have 1 or 2 good weeks and then they fold up the camp and they slip back into old ways. But this is a different Spoofer here at the moment. They're not slipping too far. They're keeping in shooting distance there. I mean, you look at, Kane and Kepa got 87, 85 for the good, the bad, and the goalie. Tayega 76, 74. Yeah, it's a few points less than the rest of them, but it's not a case of, a disaster job here. And look, the Spoofer is going to be happy. They're holding 4th place. They're doing pretty good, I have to say. No change then in 5th place. Lafayette Lions, 68 points, Eamon. They had one transfer. Mahrez came in for 14 points and Aronson was put out for 1 point. Their goalkeeper was Ramsdale for 3 points. Saliba had 3 points. Byrne had 2 points. Trippier had 2 points. Martinelli had 5 points. Rashford came in with 8 points. Fernandes had 3 points. Ganato was there with 2 points. Haaland had 10 points. Kane had 2 points, and they actually captained Mahrez. They got 28 points. A smart transfer and a smart captain choice there with Mahrez. Again, a bit like the Spoofer, the defence looks leaky. I'd be a little concerned about this. The Ganato and Kane are certainly keeping themselves in good company with their 2 points apiece. Shocking, really. Kane is very hit and miss these days. And I think the other thing here is De Gea on the bench, 10 points. That could have made a little bit of difference to Lafayette's season. They're not consistent at the moment. They've lost that run, and I think there's this confidence that has ebbed away from them ever so slightly. They're probably doubting themselves a little bit. No change either in 6th place. Best season ever, 72 points. They had no transfer. The team lineup is as follows. In goals, De Gea, 10 points. Akanji, 2 points. Botman, 1 point. Trippier, 2 points. Saliba, 3 points. Odegaard, 4 points. Rashford, 8 points. Mahrez, 14 points. Kane, 2 points. Nekatea, 6 points. And Haaland was the captain for 20 points. Eamon, any thoughts on this now? Yet again, another team here with the defence and not pulling in points that you'd need. Really should have had Almiron on the pitch instead of the bench with the 10 points. It's another case of following in the footsteps of the Lafayette Lions, leaving points on the bench. A little bit of slip up. However, they'll be happy with 72 points. They are, again, chipping into Lafayette's lead, trying to keep pace with the Spoofer, a few points behind, but not overly out of the picture yet. No change either then in 7th place with Raglan Road, 69 points. They had one transfer, Eamon. They brought in Saka for 15 points. They put Zaha out. Of course, Zaha is injured. Now, in goals, they had Ederson, 3 points. Botman had 1 point. Trippier had 2 points. Gabriel had 3 points. Thiago Silva came in with 2 points. Fernandes had 3 points. Saka had 15. Almiron was there with 10 points. Rashford had 8 points. Havertz had 2 points. And they had Haaland for their captain as 20 points. It was a good transfer. Bringing in Saka, they got the points. And here we are again with the defence letting them down. Like, this is the fourth team in a row here with the defence is letting them down. They also had Marsh on the bench with 10 valuable points there. I think these points are adding up here. I mean, if they had got those 10 points there, they would have been 79. They'd have been starting to be putting a little bit of pressure on the guys ahead there. We don't see this very often with some teams, but this is 3 teams in a row here who've been leaving substantial points on the bench. A lot of question marks here about that. No change either then in 8th place. Blightsome squad, 79 points. And they had 1 transfer. Saka came in for 15 points and Almiron went out for 10 points. The team lineup was the following. Goalkeeper, Sanchez, 2 points. Trippier, 2 points. Aki, 3 points. White, 3 points. Odegaard, 4 points. Mahrez, 14 points. Rashford, 8 points. Willock, 1 point. Haaland, 10 points. And Havertz, 2 points. And their captain, of course, was Saka, 30 points. Eamon, the transfer did work out to a degree. Like, they lost. Well, I mean, look, they didn't lose anything. But Almiron got 10 points. And I think Willock would have been the chap to get rid of there and keep Almiron in. However, captaining Saka did redeem this transfer move here. And it was a good captain selection. However, similar to what we've seen, and this is a pattern growing here with some of the managers, a lot of points left on this bench. De Gea had 10 points, the goalkeeper. Castagne had 5 points. Tony had 9 points. These are points that this manager needs here in order to try and move. I would have been expecting that they would be working on trying to close the gap on Raglan and possibly best season ever. But they just seem to have stalled a little bit here. This loss of points won't help them. Up to 9th from last week's 11th place is maximum effort, 81 points. They had 1 transfer. The Saliba came in for 3 points and Cancelo is gone. The team lineup was as follows. Goalkeeper, Pope, 3 points. Trippier, 2 points. Botman, 1 point. Saliba, 3 points. Saka, 15 points. Odegaard, 4 points. Grosh, 2 points. De Bruyne, 15 points. Watkins, 7 points. Tony, 9 points, and Haaland was the captain for 20 points. Eamon, they're on the move. But it's much better than last week, and that would be very hard here. The forwards look sharp. It's a really, really good forward line. Good result from them. It's certainly an improvement. But again, the question is here, have they the ability to build on this result, this week's result? We've seen this week in, game week out over the past months. Look, we've seen it over the last 1 or 2 seasons. They get a good result. They have this false sense of lulling you into thinking, yes, they can do something. And then they fall apart. They don't do anything. I'd have my doubts. I think they get 9th, they stay in 9th. And they'll be lucky to stay in 9th. Down to 10th from last week's 9th place, of course, is What a Beauty, 99, 68 points, Eamon. They had no transfer. Now, folks, we're coming into that zone of the no transfers. We used to talk about the Twilight Zone years ago. This is the no transfer zone. The goalkeeper was Pope, 3 points. Martinez got 1 point. Saliba had 3 points. Trippier came in with 2 points. De Bruyne had 15 points. Martinelli had 5 points. McAllister had 1 point. Trossard came in with 7 points. Solanke came in with 2 points. Tony had 9 points, and they had Haaland as the captain for 20 points. Like, this manager reminds me of like a weighing scale. They are up and they are down constantly here, up and down. But there's nothing really else to say here. No transfer again. What can you say? This is just, they're going through the motion here. Down to 11th place then is Kalish Bait. They previously had been in 10th place. 49 points, no transfer. Goalkeeper was Ward, 3 points. Zinchenko, 3 points. James, 2 points. Trippier, 2 points. Harrison, 3 points. Salah, 11 points. Almiron, 12 points. St. Maximin, 2 points. The vice captain was Kane, 4 points. Tony, 9 points. They still have Jesus as their captain, even though he's injured. Eamon. There's too many red lights on their players. Subs benches nearly covered in players who are injured or suspended or not going to be playing here. And there's potential that this manager might actually run out of players, not be able to field the full squad there. It's another woeful tale of the missing manager. Day 84. No change either then at 12th place. Real, no stars. 65 points, Eamon. They had no transfer. In goals was Ederson for 3 points. Cucurella picked up 2 points. Walker Peters got no point. Alexander-Arnold had 6 points. Salah had 11 points. De Bruyne came in with 15 points. Aronson had 1 point. Ducouré came in with 1 point. Martinelli had the 5 points. Greenwood is still up front from getting 1 point. And Haaland was their captain for 20 points. And they were lucky. They hit lucky with Salah, Haaland and De Bruyne. If those lads didn't do anything, there'd be no 65 points here for this chap here. Nevertheless, it's the same old story. The same record playing around for this guy. Not doing anything, not going anywhere. No change in 13th place. Silver Stroke, 71 points, no transfer. The team lineup was as follows. In goals, Ederson, 3 points. Byrne, 2 points. Alexander-Arnold, 6 points. Bueno, 1 point. Saka, 15 points. Trossard, 7 points. Salah, 11 points. Marsh, 10 points. Mitrovic, 2 points. Haaland, 10 points. And their captain was Trippier for 4 points, Eamon. It's a good result considering they didn't do any transfers. And I think they're hampered by their stubbornness and not looking to play a transfer or do a wild card. And also, they stick with Trippier constantly. It has paid off in the past, but not in the last few game weeks now. It's been a bit of a dip in form there, and they might have to look at a different captain, I think. They're not helping themselves. And finally, in 14th place, Better Idea 22-23, 65 points. No transfer. Gold was Fabianski for 3 points. Salama picked up 3 points. Sanchez had 1 point. Diaz had 2 points. Andreas had 6 points. De Bruyne had 15 points. Hojberg came in with 2 points. Ward-Prowse had 1 point. Ings had 1 point. Johnny had 9 points. And Salah was their captain for 22 points. Look, I'm going to have to say this. I think it's shocking that a manager who is AWOL, who's not doing anything with his team, is getting this sort of a result, these sort of points here. But it won't make a difference here. You know, they're going nowhere fast. Okay, man. Well, thank you very much for that. That's our update on how the league table looks after game week 23. We will, of course, be reviewing game week 24 on our next show. And Eamon, again, I just say thanks for coming in. And it's always a pleasure to come in to look at the teams, to let our listeners know what I'm thinking about it. I could go further, but I think I go far enough. I would, of course, like to pass on my own sympathies, if I can, to the regular road manager. This is, bereavement in the family circle, and it'll be tough at this time, but, thoughts are with them. I wonder, will Hector be back on the show next week? Well, I'd like to think he will. He did text yesterday to say that something had come up, so he wasn't going to make it on this show, but he would see us next week. So he's indicated he'll be back. Okay, well, that's nice to know. I thought for a moment that he might have decided to abandon ship and go with Captain Fantastical Mick to Blackpool, maybe be one of the backroom staff or something like that. I don't think so, no. Hector, it wouldn't abandon us like that. Yeah, that's a pity. Well, one can always dream. Okay, well, look, there's no Hector's hellos, and all we want to just say is, look, listeners, thank you very much for joining us and for tuning in and subscribing to us and following us. We appreciate everybody from around the world who takes the time to listen to us. All that remains for me to say is enjoy the next few days, stay safe, keep well, look after yourselves, and have a good morning, good afternoon, a good evening, and a good night wherever you are in the world. We will be back next week to chat with you. Take care. Slán.